Wow, that's interesting. You can't fucking. I was setting a haha funny goal, and it won't let me put. What I'll do is by shitting my pants. That's interesting. Welcome to the last live stream of 2025. Very based, very cool. Very appreciate everyone that's ever joined and or watched. We're going to be looking at laws that privacy laws that don't exist. Why maybe your government hates you, and then stuff on Tor because it's funny. And we will find more and more stuff. Let's see if Discord. Ooh. Man. Why is everything based on Debian? Yo, Postmark OS though. Alright, based. I will say I'll have to figure that one out. Alright. Wow, okay, cool. So, before Tor, I2P finally can load the EFF. It is strong enough, it is based enough, it is powerful enough. And I think I just let my peers fucking finally, like, go in. I now have active 7, fast 188, high capacity 187, flood fill 1689, unreachable 6, band 156, known 2049. Super chats, you still need the $8? Yeah, man. But times 50, so Monero preferred though. It's actually $9 now with inflation. Yeah, so if we do $8, 9 for inflation, I need it, times 50. That's 450 times. If I do that 365, I'll have $164,250. And then I'll convert it all to Monero and commit tax fraud. I have shit memory, but I remember stuff like this. Yeah, it is kind of funny. You remember the most irrelevant thing, $9. $8 for... I need... $8 I need it, $9 for inflation. But I'm like that too. I'm like sitting there thinking like, yo, where did I go wrong? Okay, this is unreachable, so that website's probably not real. Project website. Quick I2P. And we'll probably do some stuff with GitHub and Forge as well. Or you remember everything in 10 movies. True. Aren't you supposed to be working? Finally went to... What do you mean finally went to Graphene OS? We've been running Google this entire time? I think for my... So, I'm conflicted with the sync thing issue that's going on now, and I think it's so hard to find something like that does syncing with like my KeePass. So I think I'm going to do WebDAV, where it's going to sync across all my devices. Parapass was looking promising, but it's owned by Tether. And that's not good. If someone forks it and is cooler, The problem with Rosello Sync is Rosello Sync is fucking proprietary. I'm not a fan of that. Hey honey, I was lazy and finally wrote my pros and cons. The cons is Google OS sucks. It took you writing down? I hear music. Sad to say I was using the Google. Yeah, I have music in the background to think. I need to think sometimes. It's copyright free. And if it's not, I'm gonna be pissed because it says it's copyright free. I mean, stock Google on the Pixel is far better in terms of security than any other Android in today's market. So you don't really have a lot of choices. It's either that or go to Apple, and Apple's a black box and it's proprietary. So if you don't want proprietary software, I would recommend not going that route, like at all, because it's just not good. What's up, the Econ 2020? You got to change your username to the Icon 2026. You're a couple years behind. Graphene OS's biggest faults right now. I do miss Google gimmicks. Oh, come on. So Google's the biggest fault of Graphene OS is a good backup solution that's built in that isn't Seed Vault. Like Seed Vault's really, really not good. I don't like Seed Vault, like at all. It's a bad experience because I've used it, and I don't really particularly like it. And I've used it to restore stuff. It's just not good. But I know it's on their list to get done. I believe in the future when they can find a better solution, but I don't think there's going to be. If they could find a way to make rustic backups, that'd be kind of sick. Locally though. Ooh, nice. Ah, damn it. Unreachable. ITP metrics, Natter? Maybe we can see simplified guide. Yeah. And then simp. I agree with you on the Seed Vault. It took me a day to back up my shit locally. Yeah, Seed Vault's just not good. And they even acknowledge it. It's not good. Until they find something better. It's just the thing is, Seed Vault has to be implemented in Android, the Android itself. Like you can't just go download Seed Vault. So it's like built into Android. I believe it. It's not a good experience. So I generally don't use it anymore, to be completely honest, because it doesn't back up anything that I care. Like, all my backups go to my NAS or my server anyways, so I'm not too pressed on it. It's just not good. I think people that want, though, a good backup, and Nextcloud doesn't really fucking work with. I don't like Nextcloud, by the way. I know people love Nextcloud. I don't. It's bloated. I used it for a long time for Unify 5 Push because I wanted to run my own push notification server for Mali because push notifications are somewhat privacy invasive. No? Yes? Maybe? Oh my god. These sites just not exist. This needs to be updated. Man, this is the hate I have for I2P. Website unreachable. How about my balls? How did this fucking go? Maybe these just aren't updated where they're supposed to be. VolDB. /dot. Am I doing too much? Nextcloud was good. I just didn't like it. It's bloated. It's very bloated. I have like 3 solutions. I have like 3 different forms of backing up that is far superior, and those 3 apps are less bloated, I guess. I'll even say that my favorite backup solution right now is somewhat tedious, but like I have image. I do image. I do image for I do image for my photos. I do edit sync for my contacts. So those are always synced somewhere on my server. And then, really, besides that, my files are all synced to like my NAS. And then I'll create probably smaller snapshots of that, and I'll push it to like once I find a cloud provider, maybe that I trust. Obviously, encrypt it, everything, and then put it up there. It's just a cost. Like I don't want to keep paying for stuff. It might be cheaper for me to put everything on a hard drive and just put it somewhere. Put it somewhere in like a safety deposit box or in the middle of the woods. I don't fucking know. I don't know if safety deposit boxes are even a thing anymore. Is Proton going bad? No. They're just becoming corporate. They're just becoming corporate, and people don't like it. I don't think they're doing good things, but I don't think they're bad. They're better than Google. I mean, do we want no competition? Though, about Proton. Thought about Proton. I don't use anything Proton related anymore. I use Tuda for my email. This isn't a recommendation. I just think they're better. And like my drive, my drive is like I don't have a cloud drive for a backup because I just don't need it. I have so much storage available to me that I want to use it and continue to use it. I just maybe want something very small. Filin looks like the best option to me. My problem with lifetime licenses is they can go out of business, and I'm going to be pissed. I mean, Dropbox got expensive. I would never use Dropbox, even if you paid me, even if I encrypt it. So Filin's does the encryption. The problem is the cost. First off, I don't want to spend. I mean, $20 a year isn't bad for 200 gigs. But I would rather just get a lifetime license for 100 gigs. And that's like a very specific type of backup. Maybe not my photos. I just don't like the chats and the notes and the file. Like, I don't. That seems a little sus to me. Not sus, but it just seems a little interesting. I'm not a fan of it. I don't know if they're open source too. Oh, they got PGP. Um, the notes I would never use. The chats are kind of silly. Happy New Year's Eve, man. Thanks, appreciate it, man. I was thinking of getting on and doing some buffer overload type shit. You should. You should bring. You should enter the new year with buffs and overflows. Okay, they're on GitHub, which is kind of nice. And that looks German to me, so maybe I kind of, maybe I'm kind of okay with it. So they're on. My problem with lifetime subscriptions is just I fear that they don't have enough. They're not making enough money. They go tits up, and then the last time they updated was so they're updating. It's kind of Rust, and never mind. I am now interested. It's a Rust crates for filing. Rust enjoyer, Rust based. The mobile. I think that this is probably going to be something that I might use. And then for my backup scheme, for my very important backup files, it might be Borg. Borg backup. Borg is kind of cool. It does a pretty good thing at compression. I think people should really understand backup schemes. And then BorgBased.com, pretty based. I don't care about the fucking 10 gigs of storage they're giving for free. That kind of like always puts a. This is gonna sound tinfoil hatty, but anytime something is free, I'm just like, I get sus alerts, but this is not a bad. But you can do encryption with your own key, so all the data is encrypted before it leaves your machine. We never see your files. And like $24 a year is pretty good for 250 gigs. If you understand Borg and if you understand how Borg works, that's like a lot. That's pretty cheap. $80 for a terabyte is a little bit much. I know people like fucking Backblaze and all this, and they're like, I'm gonna do fucking Backblaze. It's like, bro, are you uploading your entire fucking server? Like, just do the important files. But I could put it in the EU or EU. I don't know which country I'd put it in. Both are terrible options right now with the EU doing what they're doing. But I think 10 gigs of storage is nice. I don't know. I don't know how good compression is these days. I compress some files and I'm like, it didn't do that good of a job. I'm trying to think of like what's the most efficient encryption scheme. Yeah, I spent like an hour yesterday deleting screenshots. No one looks at your pics. It's not my pics. It's my my config files for my server. That's what like would be annoying. Like configuring, like I would do like all my config files of how my servers are set up, how my network is set up. That'd be a fucking hit. And I said screw it and just install Graphene OS. That's like a weird realization too. Guys, screw it. Install Graphene OS. That's kind of funny. Well, I mean, there is companies that look at people's screenshots depending where you put it. They look for, CSAM. It's definitely there. It's just not JK. Yeah, but I have an OF. I have OF pics, man. Jay is not Jay is not joking about that. That's probably real. Real. So I don't know. I'll probably look at these and test them out. See what kind of information they ask for, and maybe give my thoughts on it. That'll be a good shirt. Screw it. Install Graphene OS. As you should. You should install Graphene OS because it is the best option besides maybe Apple and stock Android on a Pixel. There's not really a lot of options out there, again, in terms of security. And the people that want to install, like, these obscured fucking operating systems, they're like, guys, install the Uphone, the Upphone that's on outdated hardware, or like install this on or install the Brax.me phone, which is objectively a pile of shit. And if you've noticed, when the Brax phone is that thing still going? It's just such a bad idea. Oh god, they're selling it on eBay. Brax 3, Jesus Christ. He's made a third one. I thought that they stopped. Oh no. Oh no. With hardened open source software, God, you know when this site loads, this is not real. Privacy at every layer. I almost bought the phone until he talked about Graphene. Brax phone. Jesus Christ. Why the fuck would you? Why would you even do that? Brax 3 breaks away from surveillance models out of mainstream smartphones. No hidden tracking, no forced accounts, no silent data collection. Instead, it relies on open source private technology that puts you in control. Your data stays local, and your digital life remains yours. You can do this already on Android. This isn't unique to these phones. This was long ago. Okay. This isn't unique to these phones, and this is fundamentally a problem, in terms of privacy violation number one. These companies kind of lie to you and don't understand how the Android during COVID. Okay, that makes sense. Everyone made mistakes. The issue is when you get a stock Android device, you can literally just not install anything and do everything pure APK. Like, you can download all. Obviously, this is not, if you're just doing it on a random like Samsung or XXX, the security is not good because it's a $200 phone. It's a $150 phone. They don't care. But to act like that Graphene OS or what do you call it? What's the Lineage OS or Micro G solves these problems that don't exist? They're essentially creating the problem and selling you the solution, and that is kind of like the issue. When you actually go down and look at how Micro G works, how Lineage OS works, a lot of them do rely on Google services in some degree, or they fork the Android open source project and then they lag behind patching. So they lag behind patching and security updates. So if your device is insecure, it doesn't matter how much local a device is. If you're installing Android applications or other applications and there's zero sandboxing, or there's you have zero day exploitations, you fundamentally took a pile of shit and put just a fancy name on it. It's still at the pile of shit at the end of the day. Lineage OS was my OS before Graphene OS. I'm sorry to hear that. Lineage OS is terrible. It's a terrible choice. You're better off with stock Android at every step. It's a good OS if you're a normie. No, it's not. It's not a good OS if you're a normie. It's bad. You're better off with stock Android and just not installing the Google like not installing anything through the Google Play Store. You're a million times better. It's there's nothing good. If you can give me like 4 good things about it, we'll look them up and I'll list them and I can pretty much debunk them because I looked deep and thought deep about Lineage OS. I've looked and Stock OS is cracking down. It is cracking down, but we're not. If you're a normie, if you're a normie, just use iPhone at this point. And they still haven't done it. And then if Google does this at the mainstream level, what do you think that these other operating systems that use the Android open source project, what's going to happen to them? Google could fundamentally take this, make it proprietary, and prevent forking. They could take all the code and make it very difficult for them to continue the development. That's another part of it. Never turn to the dark side. I mean, from a pure security standpoint and privacy standpoint, iOS is far better than running something like Lineage OS or MicroG or any of these other forks where they don't do any patching, they don't do any sandboxing, and they pick cheap, shitty, insecure hardware. I went to the dark side and came back. They said my phone is fucked. That said my phone is fucked as hell. That's fine. I don't like Apple because of proprietary software, and I don't like Apple because of a lot of reasons. But I would never tell someone to not get an iPhone and to get something with Lineage OS that isn't going to get microcode updates, that doesn't care about patching and security, and they're trusting because they're going off a trust me, bro, kind of mentality. Graphene OS on a fundamental level uses the Pixel, which you can go audit and open. iPhone uses. Users call iOS the dark side. Apple is strong on. Yeah, I mean, even again, not a Google fan, but you can hate a product and still acknowledge what they do good. Google cares about security at the end of the day. They think about security in perspective. So at the OS layer of the Android open source project, they enforce pin protection, brute force pin protection. Meaning they enforce this. They enforce pretty much a way to prevent downgrading the OS to an insecure. This isn't Graphene OS doing this. This is Android at the fundamental level. Google and Android suffers from an ecosystem. Yeah, this is the problem with Android. Is Google has strong opinions about security. And because anyone can take Android and fork it, it doesn't mean they have to follow Google. This is a Linux problem too. Just because, Linux, so many devices manufacturers, 100%. Yeah, this is like spot on. This has always been my criticism of Android is you can put it on a toaster if you want because it's free and open source. And this is like the problem with Linux as well. Is Linux is fragmented on how security should be done, how privacy should be done, what should be done, how it evolves, etc., etc. Apple only has one device to only a few devices to really care about, but one ecosystem at the end of the day. And because they only have one ecosystem, they don't have to be fragment about security. They're like, this is what creates a secure environment, and this is how we're going to implement it. This is why you can't sideload. Remember the Freedom Phone? Yeah, the Freedom Phone was fucking retarded. Oh my god, what a moron! I mean, and they're selling it. They have to be selling it. And I'm just thinking, I should just make my own phone at this point. I should just find an OEM and call it Super Secure Phone. You know what I mean? I like that about Debian. Anything I really install is generally Debian would probably be the worst because of LTS, like long-term package system. Systems are far worse for security. Sudo is relatively not a secure environment. You're better off with Fedora, even though I hate Fedora. Fedora actually implements better sandboxing with Flatpak, OpenSUSE as well. OpenSUSE as well. They implement better sandboxing with Flatpaks as well, and like their way they do their package manager. And then they have also Atomic. I mean, what makes Android secure is because it actually has an immutability. This is why you can't change stuff. Also, like rolling release is far more secure because you get your patches faster and your updates much more frequently. I know people don't like rolling release. Fedora Core 2 was my first distro in 2004. Yeah, Fedora is far. I'm a Fedora hater, but it is far more secure. It has better sandboxing. And then if you pair this with like AppArmor or SE Linux policies on like AppArmor SE Linux policies, or if you use something like Bubble Jail to actually tighten the security of Flatpaks, it is far way better. I mean, Secure Blue would be probably the best option that we have in 2025 besides running Graphene OS. I might as well go back to Gen 2 at this point. Yeah, Gen 2 is actually more secure because of the fine granular control you have, especially with the package manager, and you can do like a hardened version of Gen 2 where you harden and restrict the kernel, and then you could set up your own SE Linux policies to make sure that everything is also sandboxed in general, or you could go over to Flatpaks that are verified, and then you could use Bubble Jail or Bubble Wrap in order to tighten the Flatpak security on top of it. And then there's also SUID like problems with Linux as well. The SUID is probably that, and like sudo in general are huge issues, and they're generally a glaring like security risk. The problem is people take Linux server advice and try to apply it to a desktop. I mean, anything with like Xorg is less secure than it is with Wayland. Wayland sandboxes like the GPU architecture. X11 doesn't do this pretty much by default, so that could expose some security levels. Most of like Mac OS and Windows have already done this. They've done ways to virtualize the GPU as process, and then SUIDD processing is kind of the issue with Linux overall, because a lot of the processes are run in the same like user space. If I'm not mistaken, and if I remember correctly, that is one of the biggest issues with Linux as well, and the fact that you have sudo out the gate. This is why Secure Blue approaches this with as Secure Blue approaches this the best possible, and probably the most efficient way that you could get out of the box. Same thing with Bazite, because it's an Atomic desktop that's immutable. It's very restrictive, though. You have to remember that. And then, if you want a little bit more freedom, you would have to do Gen 2 or Alpine Linux itself, and do a lot of. Are you going to show your phone profiles? Of course not. That would reveal too many feet pics. So like you're better off actually like not just running either Gen 2 or Alpine, maybe OpenSUSE, because they have like Tumbleweed is like miles ahead. Even Arch Linux is probably a better option, but you would have to build it yourself and not rely on these forks or like where these people are making it themselves, because you don't know how they're implementing any of their security policies as well, or their updates, etc. Rolling release is just far better than LTS. NRAN kind of thing. God, how much is this thing? Oh, man. Oh, man. No way. This is real. No way this is real. We gotta look at this. This is real, guys. No more tracking. Brexit blocks. How does it block it at the system level, though? Like, what does it do to block that you can't do yourself? People can do this. You can just get a DNS, like, you can just get a DNS server. That blocks all this for you. Or you can just like not go to the website. If you go on Facebook, it doesn't matter. If you log into Facebook with your username on and you have a VPN installed, it doesn't matter. They know who you are, so it doesn't matter if you have a VPN. Just like Facebook, Reddit, or Amazon. You need to see. The thing is, you need to replace your habits, not the software, not the tech. Tech is cool and it's a tool, and I think it's a good tool, but people need to replace their habits. They need to not go and use Amazon for everything. They need to not use Facebook and post about their life. They need to not use Reddit and reveal personal information. I mean, that's really the problem, is you need to change your habits. If Facebook's fingerprinting is just so good that it's not really possible to do all this de-Googling, and you do all these extra steps to hide your privacy, and then you log into fucking Amazon and Facebook. It doesn't really fucking matter. And if you're not using them, Google is kind of hard to really escape because of how much it's integrated into the internet. It's like trying to avoid Cloudflare. Like, Cloudflare is kind of used everywhere. And some applications will actually do this. They'll build their system on the back end of Google because they're afraid. It makes it somewhat censorship resistant because a lot of countries use Google. I mean, when we were looking at that protocol for that pretty much decentralized VoIP provider, they were using on the back end something that a lot of countries rely on, which is I believe it wasn't WebRTC. It was something to do with like Skype, because Skype is used a VoIP protocol that was kind of like hard to block, so it makes it somewhat decentralized. I mean, that's what makes email so amazing, because in a sense, email, most countries use the SMTP protocol or MyMap or POP or whatever, POP3. And if they block any of these, they really can't function. So they would have to rewrite their own entire protocols and do everything internal, which is not happening. So it kind of makes email nice because it's very difficult. Quality Learning Center. Yeah. It's. I think I watched a really good interview with a developer, and they actually used Firebase on the back end. They're like, oh my god. And they used an OICD deployment, Linux for some Somalians. Sure. That'd be super funny. I go to Somalia, instead of spreading the word of Jesus, I just spread the words of Richard Stallman. They use an OICD provider of Google as a single sign-on, but they said it's mainly for a security reason, and it's if they have Firebase on the back end, it makes it harder for them to be blocked in countries. They have a progressive web app, but they use Firebase because of the cost. It's lower, and it's harder to block something when it relies somewhat on Google to like a certain degree, which is kind of interesting. And it's completely free and open source. But they kind of, people are like, oh, why would you do that? Well, here's our reasoning. Because like we offer a function that is quite critical to people's privacy and security. So we're going to use something that doesn't really matter. And as long as like the content is encrypted at rest and all they're using is just Firebase in the backend, it doesn't really fucking matter. It's kind of like one of those nothing things. Linux for Somalis. That should be like a slogan. I wonder if there's a way you could track down like Linux to like what countries download Linux the most. Brexit makes it visible, showing exactly which apps share data, how much and where is sent to on the clear interactive world map. From trackers to advertisers, you stay informed and control of every connection. You can, again, do this with a VPN, kind of. Privacy on your terms. Not every app respects your privacy, but with Brax 3, you set the rules. The system automatically blocks unauthorized data transmissions and gives you clear insights to each app's behavior. You decide what stays connected and what gets cut off. You can kind of do this already, sort of. You can... Network permissions is the best thing that Graphene OS has given. I think it should be the default at the Android level. You should allow people to install what they want, and whether it does or doesn't have network access. Like, there's certain apps I have on there, just to be safe, I block access to the network if it allows me to, and sensors, etc. Graphene OS gives me a much higher granular control. I will say, though, I think Rob Braxman has good intent on his theology, on his ideological stance, maybe would be the better term. Woo! But I think he acknowledges it and then exploits people that don't understand it. Because tracking is so complex that it's very difficult to actually to actually be like, the more, I guess a better way to look at it, a better way to explain it, is fingerprinting works because you do stuff that are very unique. And because you do stuff very unique, you kind of are a fingerprintable person. Like, the more extensions you put on, that makes you more fingerprintable. The more obscure your traffic looks, that makes you more fingerprintable. And that is that's within the design of how software works. It's like, hey, this person jogs at 7 in the morning, and they have 4 ad blockers on their 4 extensions on their web browser, but they log into Amazon at 3 p.m. And because they log into Amazon with their VPN at 3 p.m., we know they're in this general location because we can use other forms of tracking to know that we know they're not in Somalia. They're actually in Utah. And those things make you very unique. Yes, the website thinks you're in fucking Venezuela, but the internet and advertisers kind of know that you're in the general location of the United States due to the way you type, due to websites you log into, due to a lot of things. VPNs have a use case, and I don't think that they're completely useless. I just think people kind of overpower them, and then extensions aren't useless. I think they have a use case, but people stack them and make themselves more fingerprintable. The more uniform society looks on the internet, the harder it is to distinguish between people. This is what makes Tor powerful, because everyone is supposed to look the same. This is what makes I2P powerful or Freenet powerful, because everyone's supposed to look the same. You're supposed to just be a gray person in a gray hat on a corner, and every corner is, bigmilkers.com, bigmilkers.com. That's kind of like the point. And that's why hardware switches don't matter. If anyone ever tries to tell you hardware switches are like the key to good security, they fundamentally don't understand how software works. If you have a compromised system, it doesn't really matter. And they could just be collecting information as you go. Full hardware control. Reduce your device's stacking surface by gradually manually Brax 3's hardware sensors. With the built-in privacy center, you can easily manage your hardware permissions system-wide, disabling microphones with just a few taps. You know what's funny? Everyone made fun of the software thing and said that it's useless, you need hardware switches, and look what happens. Because you get called out and you get told, like, that's a stupid idea. It doesn't matter if you have hardware switches or software switches. They just fundamentally do the same thing. But if your device is compromised, it doesn't matter if it's a hardware switch. It'll just wait until this device, like this portion comes online. This is kind of like how Qubes approaches it. It assumes that your USB stack could be compromised, so it's on the software level. It just segments it. It segments it. it puts its own in its own virtual machine. Everything down to the the USB stack is sandboxed. So if it gets compromised, it's in its own sandbox virtual environment. So whatever. But if somebody gets physical access to my machine, I'm kind of fucked anyways. So that's why you should run something like Buzzkill, so it immediately kills your machine or wipes it out completely. Or you should, and make sure that you implicate the anti-evil made it attack by setting a strong password, and kind of like something like with heads where you need a cryptographically secure box. How long are you going to be live? Until midnight. Maybe 2, maybe 3. I don't know. Whenever, depending when the beer gets to me, because I'm like 3 beers in one shot. So either till next year or till I pass out. Battle tested, Brax software is open source and available for the public to review by inviting transparency and security. So 2 hours. Yeah. Or 3. Or 4. Or 7. Whenever the beers kick in. Brax 3 software is open source and available for public review. By inviting transparency and security, we ensure the highest security standards. No backdoors, no blind trust. Brax 3 is hardened by community oversight, proven in a practice built to withstand real-world threats. Family friendly. Privacy matters. The family friendly is kind of interesting. You're streaming on Twitch also? No. Making coffee here at this that's crazy. I have a way to stream to all 3 platforms, but sometimes I just like to stream exclusively on YouTube. Twitch is kind of like gay if I say funny words. Also, I don't think my content really stretches on Twitch. Twitch is like you got to do gaming or you got to do you got to have some big milkers, which that's fine. I'm going to start catching up with you, Beer One. I wish I could have a beer counter on here. That'd be fucking awesome. Okay, let's see what's the selfie cameras. Equipped with a 5 megapixel. I just love it. Look, you get selfies, guys. It's just so funny. 5G eSIM connectivity. And actually, this is going to be quite the interesting learning curve right out the gate. So I was looking at something called Freely. And if we remember Freely... So I was listening to some more people about this and kind of thinking about it. There's a few things that this company can't solve, and one of the biggest issues is the IMEI and the IMSI. I think the pretty much like identifier of subscriber, IMEI. And then the IMSI. So these are kind of important things to understand. But we'll get to it in a second. I can't believe this is real, guys. I'm telling you, I need to... What is on here? Okay. We're here to fix mobile tech. And this is no hate to anyone in the community. Actually, it kind of is hate, but because I think people know how this works and they exploit people to a certain degree to other people that aren't. Okay, so let's see. Fingerprint sensor integrated with a high precision fingerprint sensor enabling fast, secure biometric authentication. Actually, by the way, there is no fourth. If you live in the United States, there's no Fourth Amendment. That the Fourth Amendment does not protect you with biometrics. So I would opt against using biometrics and use a PIN. And when you leave the country because you have no rights. Again, I'm not a lawyer, not your lawyer, but because you have no rights, when you leave the country, use biometrics so people can't shoulder surf you on your phone, like where they can see your pen. Actually, pin scrambling kind of solves all this. Just enable pin scrambling, unless you're Evil Dojo 666, who probably has an iPhone or a Samsung Galaxy S10, which would be disappointing. Or a Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge. So the display, this is the only good feature about it. I'm not going to lie. We need to bring back 3.5 millimeter audio jacks, please. I just want wired headphones. I don't want a dongle. 5G eSIM connectivity supports fast 5G connectivity, allow eSIM technology. And you could even say that, so if 5G is implemented correctly, it's more secure and it's more private, and it has some security benefits that go far beyond 4G. Amen. Yeah, for real. Give me the fucking 3 point. Why did they take this away? Like, Graphene OS is talked about how they're going to they're in talks with an OEM manufacturer. Praise Jesus headphone jack, by the way. And I was like, in their chat, I was like, guys, 3.5 millimeter head jack, please. And they're like, no. They're like, I hate to break it to you, but no, probably not. I'm like, okay, it's vulnerable as fuck, dude. The 3.5 millimeter head jack, probably. There's no, actually, so it was a primary vector to jailbreak iPhones. The headphone jack. Cap. This isn't real. This is not real. You're making this up. The headphone jack did this? If this is true, I need to look this up. That's crazy. Like pre-2014? That's crazy. Wow. That's awesome. That's sick, actually. The headphone jack is in a bidirectional input on God. Oh, okay. I thought that what they did was that most of the headphone jacks can be put on a daughter board. They could be put on a daughter board, which separates them from the physical device in case they get damaged or water or whatever, and it prevents any interference, if I'm not mistaken. But if you can find a source, that'd be awesome. I'll look that up. That sounds cool. That's pretty sick. I mean, I don't think a normal person would think of this, but Bluetooth is like notoriously terrible for security. Bluetooth is probably worse because you can now do it from a distance. I used to fuck around with Bluetooth spamming in my local area network. And because I'd have some devices that weren't updated, and I would see like, oh, I could Bluetooth spam on this, and then I would Bluetooth spam and it would crash. It would either crash it or whatever. It was just kind of cool. I was like, that's interesting. Bluetooth just spamming just crashes the fuck out of this fucking Samsung like 10. Bluetooth is so hard to get set up correctly. Yeah, and it actually has insane range. Bluetooth's range is like far beyond that we actually thought. I learned this only in I only learned this in the Reticulium network, like matrix server, where they're like, actually, Bluetooth is can go much further than what people think. I'm very interested in like mesh networking. I think it's such a cool technology. Even Bluetooth mesh networking. I just like audio jack because I can get better quality of the music that I buy and I purchase because I don't like pirating music. Surprisingly, it's weird. I have an ethics for like music piracy. I'm like, I don't feel good about that one. But like a Sony movie, I'm like, I'm gonna take this. Sony, I take. Band that I've listened to 14 times, I buy. But again, like but back to the main where my brain was kicking is 5G is actually, there's a way to make 5G more secure and better than 4G, but telecom providers pretty much don't do this. I would hopefully maybe in the future, if I get the fund, like the monies to throw away on something, I would like to set up my own internal 5G, 4G network and just see how that works. That's such a cool concept. I have some SDR radios that I like fucking around with and looking at plane data and just like other stuff. Like radio waves around me is like kind of cool. The software is kind of clunky and I don't really like it, but I get through that part mainly because it's interesting. Sometimes I'll even go into like a coffee shop with my antenna and people will just stare at me and I'm like, what? I'm just looking at the local train rate. I'm just listening to train data, guys. Don't worry about me. Don't worry, it's not hacking you. I promise. The backside, the device features a 50 megapixel main camera sensor and a 2 megapixel telephoto sensor for sharp, high quality photos. The autofocus system ensures swift. I would actually like to look at the Linux Jala phone. That would be cool. But $600 is kind of crazy. If I ever have $600 just to throw at the window, I'll get it maybe. Or if 600 people send me $8 in Monero, I'll do it. $9 for inflation though. 600 channel members at 99 cents. Powered by the 6 nanometer MediaTek Density 631 processor. We'll look at this. 8 gigs of RAM in this economy? Like, wow. Oh my god. I forgot about that. This is actually kind of funny. I don't know why this lives rent-free in my head. But Dark Mage brought up a core memory. They made fun of him for his arms. I forgot where I saw this, but it's really funny. This is like, I hope this is real. Christ VHS $2.99. I mean, like, no cap, I would make fun of someone if they had arms like this too. If I was like 4, 12. They making these kids look demonic though. Like they're like the featuring 3 new EDM songs from that's so great. They threw beans on him. A movie about important lessons. Daldo. God, this is peak. They threw beans on him. It's fun. It's such a funny phrase. It's peak comedy, guys. They threw beans. I love that. I forgot where I saw that, but it's such a funny thing. Performance powered by the 6 MediaTek and Project. Okay. Can I just look that up in real life? I need to see. MediaTek has not got a good. They don't get a good reputation for secure. Then again, people think that like hardware security isn't a real thing. Battery, enjoy extended life with a 5,000 mAh battery, dividing one power at a single charge. What? No removable battery? Wow, kind of gay of them. Built-in NFC technology allows for secure transactions. I mean, NFC can be secure, but it can also be not. Multi-purpose slots. The device features a physical SIM and a microSD card support. The microSD supports storage expansion of an additional 256 gigs. That needs to come back too. I'm not saying for the normies. I'm saying for the people that just like to back up to an SD card. Do you actually, it's a little bit easier to just plug in a flash drive and transfer everything to the flash drive. I'll give it that. I mean, micro SD cards are notoriously bad for data failure rate. They don't have a good reputation. They're not particularly good. Then again, I do have knock on wood, I do have a Raspberry Pi that's been using the same SD card for the last 5 years. I have Western Digital Blue hard drives that I've been running a server on for the last 5+ years. At the same drives and no failure. So I just want to say that, I don't know, it kind of depends what your use case is. As long as you have a good backup, failure rate doesn't matter. LG is the last decent phone that had a removable. Oh my god. LG though, the VG220. The VG20, I forgot about that bitch. Remember the LG Wing? That was peak. That was peak LG. I miss LG. On a tech perspective. Main camera, material. They probably put more thought into this website than they actually did to the phone. 90 hertz refresh rate in 2025 is crazy. In this economy? Octa-core. Memory. 8 gigs of RAM in this economy is crazy. Battery, sensors. You can actually get a lot of the sensor information like from like apps. It's kind of cool. I don't care about that. Communication. I would actually rather get the Fairphone than I would get this. And that's crazy. The Fairphone is not the best option out there. The Journey. Brax 3 is community. What is the price of this fucking thing? It's got to be crazy. It's got to be like $800. $400. Yikes! Just get the Jala phone, dude. They can run Linux. Admit it. You want the phone? No. I wouldn't get this if you paid me. Let's see. Robert, also known as the internet privacy guy. I think he just makes that up. I think he just says that himself. I'm going to be honest. I know I'm being harsh, but if I ever label myself as the, Yeah, $500 is crazy. If I ever label myself as the internet privacy guy, I want someone to find my geolocation and hit me with a truck. A Tesla Cybertruck, preferably. For $500, you can get a Pixel like 9 with better specs and just get Graphene OS, and it would solve Graphene OS for the retards. What if you paid 3XMR? What if I paid 3X? That'd be retarded. That'd be like 4, 8, like $1,200. If anyone ever clips me, if anyone ever clips me and says I'm the privacy guy, I want someone to find my geolocation, hit me with a Tesla Cybertruck immediately. Oh, what if you paid me 3XMR? I would not. I would avoid paying taxes with that. I would never buy this. This would be such a waste. Braxton is more than just a phone. It's a statement. It represents our commitment to a digital freedom and the belief that privacy should be accessible to everyone, not just those who care about affordable high-end alternatives. Which excited you to share Braxton with the world and offer a solution that puts users back in control. You can already do this on Graphene OS. Graphene OS doesn't ship with anything proprietary in the terms of Google. It doesn't ship with Google services. It's that simple to understand. I think this is the part that people forget. You don't have to install any Google services, and that's kind of the point. Dominic is a serial entrepreneur with experience in building various mobile products for security-sensitive industries. As an avid privacy enthusiast, he has developed and freely shared previous such through his Good Phone Foundation. I've never heard of this man. I've never heard any of these co-founders. They sound like not real people. Can I just... No, I can't. This just doesn't seem like a real person. We got the keys. Wow. LinkedIn seems like a real shithole, honestly. I've never used it. Oh, he's from Canada? I don't know if I'm a fan anymore. LinkedIn seems like just honest, like LinkedIn. Honestly, the fact that LinkedIn exists just seems like it's a pile of shit, and I'm very concerned that it still exists. 2025 comes to close. Warranted, blah, blah, blah. This year is defining for us. Brock 3, we provide a community-driven, privacy-focused device that can move from ideal to reality along the way. We made our work more open, launched our community documentation, and learned a lot about what it takes to build a sustainable hardware outside the big tech model. You can already do this. We shared a short year update. Well, interesting. It's just kind of... I'm not saying reduce competition and rely on big tech, but you can fork the Android AOCCP, pick really good secure hardware, and do what Graphene OS is doing. Graphene OS doesn't care that you come out and make a competitive, hard, secure mobile operating system. I don't think they fucking give a shit. They probably embraced it. They're probably like, actually, can someone else please take this on for us? It's that simple. If you embrace free and open source decision making, then sure, yeah, these phones seem great. But if all you care about is fucking, if you care about security, then you probably shouldn't. Just saying. Hmm. Wow. Yeah, yeah. And beef jerky. Beer too. And beef jerky. Cat saying feed me and go to bed. No, he's just retarded. No cap. So, understanding phone privacy is kind of crazy. Beer 2 is crazy though. I won't trust it. Brack's webpage is hacking you. That's funny. So, Furley is a wireless carrier that commits to your privacy. This already kind of exists. Nicholas Murrow is the founded Furley Wireless, driven by passion in open, secure, and private communication. You can already kind of do this with fucking Signal. Like, you can achieve this with Signal, or like any other option. In 2004, the owner of the internet's service provider. As the owner of an internet service provider, his life took a dramatic turn when he challenged a provision of the U.S. Patriot Act. His legal battles set a precedent, leading to the key rulings, protected the Fifth Amendment rights and privacy of countless individuals. In the wake of his victory, he established the nonprofit Calyx Institute that provides privacy information tools for all. Furley continues Nick's mission, providing a reliable wireless network providers users privacy and security. Privacy first, empowerment, envision, transparency, customer focus, and responsibility. They run ads, by the way, and this is a anecdotal moment because I test websites. I test websites' commitment to free and open source and less privacy invasive ideology. Ads are a form of privacy invasion, especially if you see the fucking ad after you visit the site. That's the point. Tutanota doesn't do ads or Google Analytics. They don't do any form of analytics. They grew organically, they grew naturally, and you just know about them. The issue is ads are privacy invasive. You can't trust the provider to not invade your privacy. That is the problem. If you care about your consumer and you care about the product and you think that you can grow organically, you don't need to run ads. You don't need to run anything that leads you to ads. You are entrusting a third party, you are entrusting a service provider to not violate your privacy rights, and you are entrusting the internet to not fuck you over. That's the problem. Quick rant. End rant. Quick rant, end rant. I wish I could show the ad I got from these fuckers afterwards, but I can't. And these providers are offering kind of a pipe dream, in my opinion. Damn. Alright, I will be getting more. I'll be getting more water. All right, here we go. All right. There's my bill due. Back to I'm gonna have a beer. I should have a beer count. Payment available. Payment is accepted. Okay. Where is the blind armadillo? They do not collect the littlest data as possible, by the way. I'm a lightweight man, as you should be. Beer 3. There we go. And a gummy based. I can't smoke anymore ever since cancer. Why gotta drop that load on us, man? Um, ask for her back. You probably shouldn't smoke though. The double-blind armadillo enabling privacy with unlinkability. This is kind of like a fundamental flaw in like how phone carriers work. We're gonna look at a few things before we read this, so we have a good understanding of how phone mobile operators work, why you should treat them as hostile in general, and kind of like why this is a nothing burger kind of like a service. And this service already kind of existed before So the International Mobile Equipment Identity is IMEI is a numerical identifier usually unique for 3GPP and IDEN mobile phones, as well as some satellite phones. It is usually found printed inside the battery compartment of the phone, but can also be displayed on most screens by entering the MMI supplementary service code *#06# on the dial pad, alongside with other sensitive information menu on smartphone operating systems. GSM networks use the IMEI number to identify valid devices that can stop a stolen phone from accessing the network. For example, if a mobile phone is stolen, the owner can have the network provider use the IMEI number to blacklist the phone. This renders the phone useless on the network and sometimes other networks, even if the thief changes the SIM card. devices without a SIM card or a slot eSIM capability do not have an IMEI, except for certain early Sprint LTE devices. Oh, wow. I'm probably going to go wait till midnight California time. What would that be? That's okay, though. People can leave and go as they go. Thanks for letting me know where you are. That means you have to stay live for 3 hours after midnight. I don't care, you know where I am. That's true. We're gonna stay 3 hours live after Jay goes to Betty Bye because he's built different. Pretty much. So I live in a shitty 2-bed apartment, and I'm the only white guy in the neighborhood. Average white person that's married that lives in California. All right, time to lock in. I've read enough funny things on the internet. This man's rich in RAM. Okay. I'm buzzing. I remember I wanted a Samsung Galaxy Nexus 4 and got 3 instead, and then the S4 Samsung. Oh, wait. I don't care, you know where I am. I live in a shitty apartment. My neighbor is Jose and tells me whenever someone tries to break in my 2006 Kia Optima, I'm buzzing. All right. What do you think of Gemini and ChatGPT? Did you pass it? No. Just reading Wiki. You are reading. Yeah. No, I'm just reading. I think like AI and like tools like have a use case, but it's about it's really about the tool and what you use it for. If you have a tool that monitors all your conversations, you kind of defeat the purpose. You need to pay them. The AI tool that is probe most likely are spying tools. Yeah. That's true. So devices without a SIM card slot or eSIM capability usually do not have an IMEI, except for certain early Sprint LTE devices, such as the Samsung Galaxy Nexus and S3, which emulates a SIM-free CDMA activation experience and lack of roaming capabilities in the 3G PPP only countries. However, the IMEI only identifies the device and has no particular relationship between the subscriber. The phone identifies the subscriber by transmitting the International Mobile Subscriber Identity, the IMSI number, which is stored on a SIM card that can, in theory, be transferred. No, Billy. Billy is with his family. Billy is, I don't know, probably smoking crack right now. Ooh. Dual SIM enabled phones will normally have two IMEI numbers, except for the devices such as the Pixel 3, which has a eSIM and a physical SIM, which only allows one SIM card to be activated at once. IMEI and the law, the most important part that we're going to talk about. Many countries have acknowledged the use of IMEI in reducing the effect of a mobile phone thefts. For example, in the United States, in the United Kingdom, under the Mobile Telephones Reprogrammed Act, changing the IMEI of a phone or possessing the equipment that can change it is considered an offense under some circumstance. A bill was introduced in the United States by Senator Chuck Schumer, fuck you by the way, in 2012 that would have made changing of the IMEI illegal, but the bill was not enacted. Alright. Block list of stolen devices. When someone has their mobile equipment stolen or lost, they can ask their service provider to block the phone from the network and the operator. Not to rant on politicians, but when did the government make it okay in the 90s a 90-year-old to make decisions or certain other people who are old? I mean, I think we should have age limits, just like we have age limits to enter. We have age limits in the United States to enter, and I think we should have term limits. We have term limits on everything else but Congress. We have age limits, everything besides being able to run the country. I think we need a fresh perspective. No, I mean, this is a genuine concern to have. A lot of the older people don't understand how the internet works. That's problem A. And why do we have an age limit on how to run the country, but not an age limit how to run the country? If that makes sense. I don't really particularly like the idea that someone 99 years old can legally run. And we don't have term limits on Congress, which is kind of fucking insane. Do you need a beer? I do need a beer. I need 2 more beers. I'll get 2 more beers, and we'll talk about block list of stolen device. Beer time. I agree. You should agree. Woo! I'm back with the beer. All right, more greens. When somebody has their mobile equipment stolen or lost, they can ask their service provider to block the phone from the network. An operator may do so, especially if required by law. If the local if the local operator maintains an equipment identity registry in EIR, it adds the device IMEI to it. Optionally, it also adds the IMEI to a shared registry such as the Central Equipment Identity Register (CEIR). Uses the CEIR, which blocks the device with other operators and uses the CIER. This blocks makes the device unusable on any operator that uses the CIR, which makes mobile equipment theft pointless expense for parts. More greens. Okay. Uh, 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 uh. To make blocklist effective, the IMEI number is supposed to be difficult to change. However, a phone's IMEI may be easy to change with a special tools. In addition, IMEI is unauthenticated mobile identifier, as opposed to IMSI, which is routinely authenticated by home and service mobile networks. Using a spoofed IMEI can thwart some efforts to track handsets or target handsets' lawful inception. Australia was the first nation to implement an IMEI blocking across GSM networks in 2003. In Australia, an Electronic Information Exchange EIE, the administration node provider, a block IMEI lookup service for Australian customers. In the UK, voluntary charter operated by the mobile networks ensures that any operator's block list of handset is communicated to the CEIR and subsequently all other networks. This ensures that handsets are quickly unusable for calls and at most within 48 hours. Hater on. Gonna grab another Modelo. As you should. I hear your heater turning on. That's not really that crazy. That's not really that crazy. Woo! I know I funny. It funny lots of noob questions on Graphene server. They can just Google their question. Um, yes and no. Everyone starts somewhere. Like this one do advertising company and such collect my IMEI allocation passively, or is only the case of a targeted effort of, yeah. I don't know why the just me, you and me, brother. Okay, of course. Okay. Uh, do advertise? Let me read this. I funny lots of noob questions on Graphene server. I mean that's kind of normal. Okay. It's funny, a lot of the noobs question like this one: do advertising companies and such collect my IMEI location passively, or is it only the case of targeted effective of government? Brave says advertising companies do not typically collect your IMEI number or location passively in the same way that they might track online behavior through advertising identifiers. I don't know why they're being snowed and paranoid. Maybe they watch the hated you want to. They watch just me, you, me, brother. So yeah, I mean, people think that like their IMEI is like the identifier, but your browsing habits are the identifier. That's the issue. Now your IMEI and your ISMI can it is a fingerprintable identifier, but it doesn't mean that it's the only identifier. And one of the identifiers and the like explanations is your mobile identifier pretty much finds your account, and that account essentially links to your identity, especially if you pay cash or card with like said identifier. And again, these are legal entities, so they kind of have to listen to law, and because they have to listen to law, it makes it a little muddy in the waters. I'm back. Based. You are basically paying by chance that your VPN won't rat you out. Yes and no. I mean, VPNs are a transfer of trust, and if you don't trust that VPN, you kind of are fucked. I'm going to say you have to pay to win. You can use a big portion of the internet and not voluntarily not use it. And there's a lot of, I think there are a lot of providers out there that care about your privacy and security. It's just kind of hard to pick, like, it's kind of hard to pick out which, like, one that you want. And you are, like, taking a chance in a sense, but if you self-host, that kind of removes more and more of a chance. Self-hosting allows you to self-hosting kind of allows you to make mistakes and be as sovereign as possible. Mullvad has the best. Yeah, Mullvad's the best. I think they have the best software, the best legal structure. They go out of their way to care about their users in perspective. I think they're the best VPN. Not even just Mullvad. I mean, IVPN is pretty good. We got 10 minutes till the end of the year. The kind of corporate Mullvad. Mullvad? Saying like Mullvad would kind of corporate is kind of weird. Like they've been around for a very long time. They have a browser now, right? Yeah, they have a browser, but they're fucking. It's based off. It's based off. Gecko. It's based off Firefox, which is Gecko. Anyone can go make their own browser. I mean, again, free and open source. Fork. Movad has not gone corporate in the traditional sense. I mean, they're a business, so it's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, companies got to make money at the end of the day. If their goal is to make money, they're going to be a corporation, depending on whatever legal structure they have to be in their country. If their country requires a corporation to obtain legal structure so that they can operate, I don't see the issue. Even in the traditional sense, they're like kind of silly. Wow. Can we do a countdown? Wow. Lots of people online. 5 minutes. Movad has not even gone corporate. Wow. People still go to New York. Maybe I've had one too many beers. This is actually ass singing. I'm not gonna lie. It's just kind of boring. I have zero understanding what this fucking person is saying. Be funny if you get copyrighted. Actually, it would really be funny if I did get copyrighted. I'll let everyone know in like a day or so if I got copyrighted. What do the comments say? Damn! They're going too fast. Hey y'all, they better hurry. Skibbity Toilet Sigma Ohio 67. Absolute 67 band. OMG, Happy New Year's, the Great Reset. What up, chat? 67. We are Charlie Kirk. It's kind of funny. This guy's definitely pissed that he's out here in New York. Avatar, Fire, and Ash. Is that like Avatar the Blue People or Avatar the Airbender? Yeah. I would never go to New York on New Year's. I would never go to New York in general. Imagine no. It's just so bad. I'd be pissed that I paid for this. Imagine no. Okay, I'm trolling. I have zero idea what the fucking this person is saying. So actually, I would be angry that I paid money for this. I'd be so mad. Look at those AirPods in our ear pockets. I have no idea. Wow, my balls dropped. Happy New Year. Is that real? Oh, it is. 2 minutes ago. Who the fuck's that? And why is their hand on the ball? No, I need to rewind. Who are they? Okay. 59 seconds. Obviously, the New Year's already started. Why are these kids here? This seems like such a waste, too. Wow, that guy's really happy. He's really... he's really ecstatic that he's entering in 2026. That he's made it this long. He's probably been to like 6... Okay, Planet Fitness? What the fuck kind of sponsorship is this? How are you gonna sponsor fucking Planet Fitness? They all have iPhones? For real. Where's the... That's not it. Yeah, this person's gonna copyright strike me. Oh, it's a 1 hour version. Alright guys, I appreciate you all coming by, and if you watch this very basic, very cool, make sure you comment so that YouTube not only knows I'm a real person, that I'm also a based person with a B, everyone that has watched and subbed through 2026. Super cool, super based, super awesome. Love y'all. I'll see you next year. Don't forget to walk your snail. If you don't, you are a federal agent. I appreciate y'all.